Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder and thank you for joining me. With the sad passing of Neil Peart, Rush's drummer, myself, I'm sure like a lot of you, have been going back and watching Rush videos, concerts, documentaries, and things of that nature. So I thought we'd spend a little bit of time today looking at the differences between Rush's two documentaries, Beyond the Lighted Stage from 2010 and Time Stands Still from 2016. The main differences between these is that Beyond the Lighted Stage is more of a full career, full band documentary covering their whole history, whereas Time Stands Still is really covering the final tour, the R40 tour, and the history of that. Getting into Rush's Beyond the Lighted Stage, this one here is done by Sam Dunn and Banger Films. They're most notably having done documentaries for Iron Maiden, for Alice Cooper. He also did a documentary called Metal, A Headbanger's Journey, and also did the VH1 Classic series Metal Evolutions. That's where I found out who he was and where I really became a fan of his. And so each of these documentaries that he's done, I've definitely tuned in for. I think that him as a fan himself certainly comes at these documentaries from an interesting perspective that most documentary filmmakers are people that you might hire to make a film that's not necessarily a fan of the film doesn't have. But Sam Dunn definitely brings his love and excitement for this kind of music to these documentaries. And so the first one here, Beyond the Lighted Stage, the other thing that's mostly notable of this one is that it comes at it from their history, but also the people that they've encountered. So a lot of celebrities and people. So there's Les Claypool, Trent Reznor, Sebastian Bach, Vinnie Paul, Jack Black, Mike Portnoy, Gene Simmons, and Billy Corgan are just some of the people who are interviewed for this. And so there's definitely a much more star-studded quality about this documentary, and why shouldn't there be? Rush is certainly worthy of having that ilk and quality about them. It goes through, all their history from very early on, starting off and working their way up and stuff. It definitely focuses a lot on how the band developed and how they got to where they are. It goes through famous things that we know of where the band has always kind of been considered very unhip, and the musical press has never really given them their due, and so it definitely focuses on that aspect. It does cover all the different periods of Rush and focuses little bits on each of those. There's lots of musical excerpts in it, which is something that I definitely enjoy about documentaries. I never like it when it's just the music in the background or very little bit is seen of them performing live or from videos or things of that nature. So there's a lot of musical excerpts from it. It definitely has a very musical quality. And I think the biggest thing, though, that it shows for me, and it besides their overall band history, is the band friendship. Rush is definitely known as one of those bands, as all three guys having really been friends. There's a brotherhood and everything, a camaraderie amongst the three guys, and that definitely comes across in Beyond the Lighted Stage, and definitely a feel-good type feeling documentary that is. The second documentary, the one from 2016, Time Stands Still, this one here, as I said, covers the final tour, R40, and there is a 3 CD, Blu-ray, or DVD if you choose to pick up that version of it, document of it out there. So after watching the Time Stands Still, this is a good lead up. It's definitely great to be able to throw this on. I have done a full review of the R40 show, so feel free to check that out if you have the time. So this documentary here is great. It does start off with a little bit of history. It doesn't spend a long time on it. It immediately picks right up with the planning and the kickoff of the tour. So if you do have or choose to pick up Beyond the Lighted Stage, you're not going to, it's not going to really overlap with this. And Rush has always been really great about that with the live shows that you see behind me, the Blu-ray and DVD collection behind me. One of the things that they always did was they were careful not to overlap too much. Of course, they have their big songs that they have to include, the hits and things like that, the classics that everybody expects, but they make sure to not overlap too much, to pull out some deep cuts and things like that. And so same thing is being said here of the documentaries. Big portion of history covered in Beyond the Lighted Stage. They make sure not to rehash too much of that, and at least when they do, they make it new here. But some of the other differences with this is that Time Stand Still is definitely from a fan perspective. They spend a lot of time interviewing the fans. And some of these are now fans that have become not famous in their own right necessarily, but I mean are big people among the industry and stuff that are out there, you know. So you've got politicians, you've got athletes, you've got producers, and you've got record execs who all started off as fans of Rush, and those people are being interviewed here as well as just the average regular fan. And they go into things like RushCon, which is you know, fans who would get together before the show and stuff like that and meet up and things of that nature, so it covers that. And in my opinion, this documentary also really answers the reason why they're choosing to stop touring. And of course, I think, you know, the knee-jerk reaction is that it was Neil Peart who is making them stop, but it goes beyond that. He is the onus or the thing that generates this, that is, you know, it's him who says, you know, he really doesn't feel that he is going to be able to perform at the top of his game much longer, and he's choosing to go out on top. But there's equal measure of that amongst Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee as well. And so it does go into that, and that's very nice to have spent some time on it, not to just gloss over the reasons why they're choosing to call it a day and have the farewell tour. And the other thing that I think is really nice about this one here, even though this was shot in 2015 during the tour and whatnot, and came out in 2016, it definitely was providing a closure to the history of Rush and everything. And now with the passing of Neil Peart, I found this one more rewarding in terms of watching and that sort of cathartic nature and whatnot, having now lost a member of Rush. But it does the same, or did the same, in terms of the end of the tour, but now it's providing that as well with the passing of Neil Peart. And like Beyond the Lighted Stage, Time Stand Still also really does focus on that band friendship and brotherhood and whatnot. And so I really did appreciate how they were able to capture that and bring that across. And so while they show the relationship between the band and fans and whatnot, and the camaraderie amongst the fans, there was equal time spent showing that between the band. And so, as I said, both of these documentaries, I think, really do show different aspects of the band, and there isn't much overlap within it. You get full history documentary type thing, whereas you're documenting final tour. Both of these are really good. Like I said, with the passing of Neil, I'm choosing Time Stand Still as the primary one if you're starting with one. But if you're a Rush fan and or you want to know the full history, definitely pick up Beyond the Lighted Stage. All right, I hope that was enjoyable and you picked something up from it. If you enjoyed this, please comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. If you have a particular favorite, please let me know. All in all, I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll be talking to you all real soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.